Hello everyone, and welcome back to Watchman Review and the fourth video in this series titled Other Gods. If there's only the Abrahamic God and Jesus is the Messiah, then who could these other gods be? Before history, Lucifer, being Satan, rebelled against God. Also called the Great Deceiver, Lucifer is allowed to roam this world and tempt us through sin. He desires to keep us from our promise of eternal life in heaven. Misery loves company, right? Throughout time, Lucifer has deceived multitudes via his many faces: Moloch, Baal, Ishtar the Temptress, Tammuz, Mithra, Saturn, Ra, Apollo, and so many others. Common practices within Luciferian religions include human sacrifice, drinking of blood, sexual immorality, and meditation. One must understand that there is God and there is Lucifer, good and evil. But who are the gods of old? Were they real? The answer is yes. The Bible speaks of the fallen angels, as does the book of Enoch. They bred with human women. Their offspring were the Nephilim, giants and half-breeds of old with might and power.
Understand the bigger picture, we must back up to the days of Noah. Genesis chapter 6 holds the key. And it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of Elohim saw the daughters of men that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of Elohim came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, the same became mighty men which were of old, men of renown. Genesis chapter 6, verses 1 to 2 and verse 4. The author of Job makes abundantly clear that the sons of Elohim are angels. What then is Moses telling us in Genesis chapter 6? Plainly stated, Moses is saying that angels cohabitated with earthly women and that their offspring were giants, or Nephilim in the Hebrew text, Strong's H5303. As outlandish as this may sound to some, this is what the text says. The strange events recorded in Genesis chapter 6 were understood by the ancient rabbinical sources, as well as the Septuagint translators, referring to fallen angels procreating weird hybrid offspring with human women, known as the Nephilim. So it was also understood by the early church fathers. These bizarre events are also echoed in the legends and myths of every ancient culture upon the earth. The ancient Greeks, the Egyptians, the Hindus, the South Sea Islanders, the American Indians, and virtually all the others. Now let us examine the larger implications of this understanding and how it relates to the Father's command to destroy the nations of Canaan. Father Yahuwah decreed the eradication of the Canaanites because they were completely contaminated with Nephilim genetics. This was contrary to his plan for humanity, which in the beginning was created in his image. If left unchecked, this genetic contamination would have become so ubiquitous that it would have made it impossible for the Messiah to be born pure and without blemish, which was an absolute requirement if he was to atone for mankind's sin as the sacrificial lamb of Yahuwah. If the Father had not intervened by way of Israel's sword, all bloodlines would ultimately have become polluted with the Nephilim genes.
This same story is worldwide. Every culture has a flood story. Many of these stories refer to the giants before the flood, just as the Greeks refer to the gods, the Titans and the Olympians. Many scholars are making the association of these Greek gods with the Nephilim and the fallen angels from the Genesis account. The Titans being the fallen angels, or as the book of Enoch calls them, watchers, and the Olympians being the Nephilim. But the discussion of giants on earth goes much further and more deeper than just this comparison.
If you study classic Greek mythology, you run into the Titans. These creatures in the legends and the myths were partly terrestrial and partly celestial. They rebelled against their father Uranus, and after a prolonged contest were defeated by Zeus and condemned where? Into Tartarus. Do you see a parallel brewing here? I'm going to suggest to you that the legends of the ancient Greeks embody the truth of what really happened in the past, that there were these strange creatures, generally hybrids, that the Greek called titans.
The Nephilim were an abomination. God destroyed them in the great flood to rid the world of the impurity they brought. According to some texts and the Bible, a few survived. They were the gods of old. They did exist, but were eventually destroyed. Greek mythology is a good example of this. What about Buddha? Most can agree that Buddha was able to introduce new principles of enlightened thought. He did not bring about a religious movement, but rather a conscious awakening, and he never declared himself a god. What about the Hindu gods? Take your pick. There are well over 33 million gods in which to choose, and most all these Hindu gods originated from the ancient Aryans, being in what is present-day Iran. They focus primarily on forces of nature.
According to their tradition, in the days after the Great Flood, Cush traveled with his family up the Nile River until they reached the Atbara plain, from where they could see the Ethiopian tableland. There they ascended and built the city of Axum. Then Cush traveled to Sumeria. There is a city named after him called Kish. There is also a mention of this city in the Sumerian king's list. It reads, "After the flood had swept over and the kingship had descended from heaven, the kingship was in Kish." After Cush, his son Nimrod became the king of the entire region of Sumeria, with many more cities under his rule. He is worshipped as Shiva in India today. Later, some other descendants of Cush mingled with the children of Shem in India and set up kingdoms there. Cush's descendants are known as Kshatriyas in India. Note the sound Kish forming the first part of the title. You will find them depicted in purple in Indian artwork, which represents the glow of the dark African skin. Thus, Shiva, Vishnu, Krishna, and Rama are all Kushites. Rama even had a son named Kusha. While I believe that Shiva and Vishnu's lives were confined to ancient Sumeria, Krishna and Rama seem to have been born in India. When they grew up, they ruled two different regions of ancient India, namely Ayodhya and Dwaraka. Buddha, being a Kshatriya, was another popular descendant of Cush. Rama and Krishna were deified, and people worshipped them.
And I looked, and behold, a whirlwind came out of the north, a great cloud, and a fire enfolding itself, and a brightness was about it, and out of the midst thereof as the color of amber, out of the midst of the fire. Also out of the midst thereof came the likeness of 4 living creatures, and this was their appearance. They had the likeness of a man, and every one had 4 faces. They sparkled like the color of burnished bronze. As for the likeness of their faces, they 4 had the face of a man, and the face of a lion on the right side, and they 4 had the face of an ox on the left side. They 4 also had the face of an eagle. Thus were their faces.
Ironically, the statue of Shiva, the destroyer, and interesting that this is one of the names of Allah as well, the destroyer. Anyway, a statue of Shiva now stands guard over CERN. You need to look into this, into CERN especially. There's some serious bad mojo going on over there in Switzerland. It's built on an ancient Apollyon temple. Remember, Apollo is another face of Satan. I once considered myself a pagan. The church and Christians had turned me away from Christ, and they didn't lead by a good example. I believed that there was energy all around us. I saw it. I believed in it. It's in the trees and in the earth. And yet I was missing a simple part, God. Now looking back at paganism, since that time, it really seems to have taken a darker turn. Let me show you what I'm talking about.
And welcome to the program. So glad you can join me today. You know, we try to expose the dark side often on this program so that you are aware, so that you can conduct spiritual warfare, and so that you can fight back. And I recently spoke with writer-researcher Carl Teichgrib about, get this, a pagan convention. Actually, it was in my hometown, but I promise you it's coming to your neighborhood, and it is in a lot of other neighborhoods. It was called Paganicon. 500 attendees, happened to meet just 10 minutes from my home, Twin Cities here, an annual event, but such meetings are all over the country, and it was part of Pagan Pride Days, based after Gay Pride Days. But for some reason, the Midwest is what the pagans call Paganistan. So congratulations, Iowa, Wisconsin, Minnesota, the Dakotas, even Missouri. You are Paganistan. What do they worship? The environment, nature. Well, this is pushed in our schools big time. My guest for the first segment, again, Carl Teichgrib, was present at this event very recently. Apparently, the purpose is to bring the pagan community together, to network together, build each other up, sort of in the faith, and put a larger footprint down in the culture. Welcome, Carl Teichgrib. And by the way, Carl, this sounds like a church meeting.
And it was very spiritual. It was very religious. It was a time of worship and a time of reflecting on what they believe and how they could project that into the culture and encourage each other in their Wiccan, witchcraft, Druid, heathen faith.
My goodness, there were speakers, you told me, workshops, rituals, including voodoo rituals. I have the printed program in front of me, Carl. Paganicon, A Journey to the Underworld. Let me just read a paragraph, kind of an introductory paragraph, and it says this. Welcome to, this is the term Paganicon. From all parts of the world come myths and legends about the underworld, a mysterious and shadowy place beyond ordinary human experience. The underworld is the realm of the dead, the destination of human souls in the afterlife, and the home of the ancient ones. In some traditions, it is also the home of non-human, supernatural, or otherworldly beings. Some shamanic practitioners view it as the home of plant, animal, and ancestral spirits. Dropping down, imagine for a bit that you are Alice, the much-loved character from Lewis Carroll's novels Alice Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass. You have stepped through the looking glass, and instead of fantastical journey to Wonderland, you find yourself on a journey to the underworld. And then it says, what would that journey be like, and what would you find when you reached your destination? I don't know if they know this or not, Carl Teichgrib, but I think they're sort of celebrating the fact that they are going to hell.
And that's kind of what it felt like. In fact, the opening ritual was all about a journey into the underworld. I sat through the ceremonies, the opening ceremonies, where they were introducing the conference and what was all going to take place. And we were all handed out sheets of music, just words to some music that would be sung. And so I ended up in the processional as they moved from the ceremony room to the ritual room, and they were singing this song, Draw Near and Fear Not. Down we go to the world below. We bring with us a light to show. Up we rise with the dark in our eyes. We bring to light the peace of the night. And as we were walking, and I was listening to hundreds of people chanting this song as they went into the ritual room, and that's where I broke away, and I just stood off to the side to kind of watch from a distance. This was a celebration of their journey, literally into Hades. This was a celebration of a journey into the underworld. This is the descent into darkness. This is not a good place.
They talk about Hades here, so I think they know what they're doing.
And I would agree with
And what about Satanists? Is Satan real? He most absolutely is.
In order to survive in the streets of the South Bronx, you had to be a killer, you had to be a murderer, you had to be smart, you had to be slick. My father's side was all witches and warlocks. We lived on witchcraft. We had a contract direct with the devil himself. My father, I remember when I was younger, like 8, 9 years old, I would see him go into the room to worship the devil, and I could feel the presence of the devil come into that room. And my father would worship and speak in tongues, in demonic tongues, and worship and put flowers and put candles and put water. At 7 o'clock at night, at the age of 15, 16 years old, I was going into hospitals and putting death in ICU, death in one room, so this person couldn't die, because I wanted to be promoted with the devil to move up that ranks, to be the biggest devil worshiper in New York City. The devil became my daddy. He replaced my dad because I prayed and I said, you killed my dad. At the age of 33 years old, my dad got shot in a nightclub in the face for a woman that wasn't even his, when he had to go up and home. And the devil took him out. The devil said, I replaced the old to keep the new. If I tell you I was going to kill you in 30 days, you prepare your funeral, you was going to die in 30 days. I don't care who you were, I don't care who you knew, I don't care what you call yourself. If you were Catholic and you said you were a Christian and you said you were a believer, I was going to kill you unless you had a real relationship with Jesus Christ. And the lady that lived downstairs, and she came up and she told me, my husband is cheating. I want you to kill the woman that she's cheating with. Put a witchcraft spell on her and kill her. How much you charge me? I said, well, come back. I'm going to speak to the devil, my daddy, and I'll let you know. Come back in a couple of days. So the lady came back. The devil told me what to buy. He said, buy a coffin box, buy 21 black candles, buy an image of the lady, put it in the box, to do the witchcraft, to kill this lady. So we were going to do her for 21 days. She was going to die. After 21 days, we were going to do her funeral. So she said, by the way, she's a Christian. She said, the lady's a Christian. I said, I'll kill her for free. So I did the voodoo thing, I did the witchcraft thing, and 21 days went by, the lady didn't die. A month went by, the lady didn't die. And I was like, wow, what's going on? I mean, my reputation's online. So I called the devil, I called the demons that was signed. I increased the witchcraft. I increased the witchcraft. I doubled the witchcraft on it so she can die like overnight. Nothing was going on, nothing was going on. I was home at night and the devil shows up. And I feel the presence of the devil comes into my mouth. And then the devil told me, we have to abort the plan of the lady that you want to kill. And I said, why would we want to abort the plan? My reputation on the line. I'm a witch. I'm a warlock. If I don't kill the lady, they're going to think that I don't have any powers. The devil said, you don't understand. The God that she serves said, don't leave her alone. Don't touch her. The spirit realm is more real than the natural realm. And we fail to see that. And whatever is not covered with Jesus Christ is an easy target to bring down. One day I was sitting home, and it was amazing. I came from a nightclub the night before. I was sitting home watching a show called Jerry Springer. I know, a crazy show. People beat each other up. I get joy out of that. I was getting joy out of that, laughing. For the first time I heard a voice say to me, son, I am coming soon. What are you going to do with your life? An audible voice shot from across the room. And I thought it was the TV that was talking to me. And I said, no, it can't be the TV, because these people are beating each other up. This voice, I knew the voice of the devil. I would sit with the devil like I'm sitting with you today. And he would come into human form. He will come in the room. He'll come in sometime. The presence of him will come into the room. The atmosphere changes. But I remember I went to sleep, like a deep sleep. Someone put anesthesia, and I went to sleep. I ended up in a train full of people. I couldn't believe that I was in a train full of people. And this train was going faster than you could ever imagine. I'd never been on something this fast on earth. And it went into hell. And Jesus Christ took me to hell. And when I got to hell, the doors opened. I mean, there was a slam in the doors. There was an unspeakable echo. The doors opened. And there was heat that came out of nowhere. It felt like you were going to suffocate, the heat that came out. And I got out the train, and the people in the train, they had no faces. But you could see the fear on the people on the train. You could feel the fear, the impact of the fear, that they were going to a place that they were never going to return. As I came to a part of the tunnel, the devil showed up. He said, I was your daddy. He spoke to me the amount of time. I was your daddy. I gave you everything you needed. I took care of you. I blessed you. I protected you. I killed people for you. I did everything. I gave you powers. I gave you a name in the kingdom of darkness. I gave you a name. When people came against you, I destroyed them because I knew that you were going to be the vessel that I was going to use to move my kingdom on the earth. And now, and the confused, he went to grab me. As he went to grab me to destroy me, the cross of Jesus Christ appeared in hell. I didn't understand how a 3-foot cross appeared in hell when I was wearing the blue shorts and a t-shirt. And I put it on him. And when I put it on him, the devil melted like he was an infant. Like an infant. Around the cross of Jesus Christ appeared in hell. There's no greater love than the cross that will come for sinner like me in hell. So when David said, if I make my bed in hell, he knows I'm there. Grace and mercy showed up in hell. And ever again, I was tormented by the devil. And I became an evangelist for Jesus Christ. 14 years serving the Lord, and I will never trade it for nothing.
Their goals are insidious. They practice unholy rituals, harm our young, and deceive with lies.
I'll tell you a couple of stories about fraud. The Bohemian Club, as you say, the Bohemian Club? That's where all those rich Republicans go up and stand naked against redwood trees, right? I've never been to the Bohemian Club, but you ought to go. It'd be good for you. Get some fresh air.
Yes, sir. First question? Yeah. I'm sorry. You gave a keynote speech at the Bohemian Grove Club, sir, a club which openly has mock child sacrifices and satanic worship, sir. Can you answer my question, sir, please?
I was very pleased. I was very pleased with my performance in the debate. It was a good debate.
What about the Bohemian Grove Club, though, sir? That's very important. They do mock human sacrifices there, sir, and you reported being there.
I was very pleased with my performance in the debate.
Sir, why did you ignore my question, sir? Can we have
running up a storm about that Bohemian Grove over there? Human sacrifices, a male prostitute shipped in there yearly.
Have you been there for the ceremony with the cremation of care?
Frankly, I don't think that's something I need to talk to you about. And I'm sorry you violated the understandings. That was not a gentlemanly thing to do.
But what about the ritual? Is the ritual genuinely?
And goodbye.
The ritual?
That's none of your damn business.
Oh.
What you're looking at here, staggeringly, is a group of people, some of the most famous people in America, in long gowns. Behind them there, you see a 40-foot stone owl. And there's the fire between them, next to the lake at Bohemian Grove. Now, one might wonder, understandably, why the people that run the banking, political, economic system and the media in America should be dressed in long robes doing a ceremony to a 40-foot stone owl. I think we should be told.
They have infiltrated our banks, politics, media, and entertainment.
Hi, this is Ed, and welcome to The Art of Dark. Recently I was watching a video posted on Robert David Steele's blog, the ex-CAO officer. A link, of course, will be placed in the comments section, which was about an ex-elite banking financier talking about his time within the world of elite banking and the shocking results that made him leave.
Hadden een Luciferiaans geloof. En dan kan iedereen zeggen, ja, geloof bestaat niet en God bestaat niet, alles bestaat niet. Nou, voor die mensen was het de waarheid en de werkelijkheid. Hun diende dus iets onstoffelijks. Hun diende wat zij noemden Lucifer. Werd ik dus uitgenodigd, daarom vertel ik dit ook, om mee te gaan doen aan offers in het buitenland. Dat was het breekpunt. Kinderen.
Oké. Dat werd je gevraagd?
Ja, ik kon het niet.
Wil je even
En
stoppen?
toen...
Wil je even stoppen trouwens? Of
nee.
Oké.
En toen begon ik langzaamaan eigenlijk in te storten. Ik had zelf als kind nogal wat meegemaakt. Ja. En dat raakte mij zo. Alles ging om. Maar dat is de wereld waar ik uitkom. En toen begon ik dus dingen te weigeren binnen mijn werk. Ik kon het niet meer. En toen werd ik een gevaar.
Voor hen, natuurlijk.
Ik begon niet meer optimaal ik begon te rammelen en ik had dingen geweigerd. Ik had niet deelgenomen. Want het gaat erom, uiteindelijk in die wereld, dat ze iedereen ook in hun zak willen hebben. Ze moeten chantabel worden. En het chanteren van mij was erg moeilijk, als ik dat allemaal achteraf bekijk. Dat hadden ze willen doen via de kinderen. En daar brak ik.
But what, if anything, can be done to stop this evil? Is there anyone who will stand up?
Look, we've got a worldwide scourge against our youth. It's really nothing new. What's new is that it's kind of being exposed at an accelerating rate, really. And it's a beautiful thing. I welcome that. And I intend to be a huge part of that. I want to throw as much, fuel on that flame as possible, because 27 million children worldwide are victims of human trafficking and sex slavery. So that's no small problem. And we've got an attack against the youth and the future of our nation. And it's a lot of the people that have a penchant for abusing and even torturing to death. A lot of these children are among the wealthy elites. Some of the biggest names, companies and foundations out there are heavily involved in what would really be unthinkable activity and behavior without being walked through it. So look, with me having a spec ops background, a federal law enforcement background, and working in several other agencies and having high level contacts there, I decided, as I started learning more about this that's been going on, it really just started abrading me and upsetting me what was going on to the kids. I've been all over the globe. I've seen a lot of injustice and a lot of heartache and destruction, and I'm calloused in a lot of ways, but in another way, I'm very sensitive to anything that goes on with the kids. I like defending. I like the whole principle of defending the defenseless. That's kind of how I'm wired for whatever reason. And so I'll go hard after the hardest guys. I'm used to hunting down the worst terrorists on the face of the planet in their own refuge. So that's kind of that's my muscle memory, and that's my tendency. I'm a fighter. I'm a warrior. And so when I see people of means torturing to death and learning, getting the reports that they're torturing these children to death, and sometimes satanic rituals and all kinds of dark and just weird stuff that these people get into, it upset me to the point where I thought, okay, what can I do? Can I go kick down a few doors and help with a few arrests and rescue a few kids? Yeah, but 27 million. I can't make 27 million rescues. I can't. I would love to. Math just doesn't work. How does a guy like me bring out the big nuclear weapons to change the entire face of this battle? How do I prevent these elites from being able to do this in the future? And the answer for me was really simple, but due to the unique path that my life's taken me on. And the solution is exposure. And so the vehicle that I'm going to utilize for the exposure is a documentary series. So I've assembled a team of friends of mine and colleagues from the very top of the intelligence communities, federal law enforcement communities, counterterrorist communities, and I've even brought people with me that I brought for similar reasons on board for international counter-poaching operations. So we've got all these contacts, friends, and assets that are highly capable and good people, and so I've asked them if they wanted to help with the children. And when I started explaining to them what's going on there, every single one of them that's on my task force has said, "Sawman, count me in, whatever you need."
That's
So
fantastic. That's fantastic. How can we support you with that? Are you still in the fundraising process for that?
Yeah, we are. We wanted initially to run like a 10 or 12 part series to cover the wide scope of this crisis because it's complex. There's a lot of different ways that people are trafficking and harming children that the American public need to know about so that we can stand up and combat it.
Satanic rituals were once kept in the shadows, but that is no longer the case.
Right now you hear the devil's screaming as he's running around with the white garbed spirits.
Now the what'd you call them? Swamp ghouls.
Swamp ghouls.
That's pretty good.
Right now it looks like Satan has captured one of these spirits or whatever and doing unspeakable things to them.
Yes. I'm just sitting here watching this for the 4th time, and I'm still stunned.
Well,
this happened yesterday, folks. Yes. It happened yesterday in Switzerland. Put this together with CERN.
Yes.
That's is going on in Switzerland?
That's what I thought.
What are they doing, Doc, in Switzerland? What I want people to understand is there are powerful leaders in the world, in the Western world, because I think this is really confined to the Western world. They are begging Lucifer to come out of the abyss. And I know many of you listening to me right now are saying, Rick, you're exaggerating it. You're trying to scare me.
I wish we were making this up.
And then there are the atheists. They do not believe in God or any God. Many declare they only believe in themselves, that they are gods. Scientists often believe this way as well, even though they continually prove God's existence through their own findings. Did you know that scientists now claim the universe is a matrix, a construct? That means a conscious creator. Did scientists create the universe? Of course not. They simply tear apart God's creation and attempt to replicate it, declaring it their own. Many scientists go too far, even twisting the fabric of all life as we know it. Okay, so get this. So we all know that life on Earth contains 4 DNA chemical letters, right? It does. Scientists have recently created 2 new semi-synthetic DNA letters to add to the mix. Dinosaurs had only 4 DNA chemical letters. What would something with 6 DNA letters be capable of? The 2 new synthetic bases are known as DNAM and DTPT3. As in the days of Noah, right? The argument that humans are gods is no more than pure arrogance and pride. Did you know that in the late 1990s, scientists discovered that there are 24 hours missing in time? You heard me right. To explain this, all one has to do is look in Joshua 10:3, where it clearly states that the sun stopped in the middle of the day and did not hasten to go down for a whole day. In 2015, scientists declared that all matter records and mysteriously sends out information that occurs around it. Perhaps it is no wonder why God knows everything that we do. How about this one? The book of Zechariah states that in the end days, the Mount of Olives will be split in 2 and a large valley will form, allowing a remnant of the Jews to flee to Petra, Jordan. Only now do scientists realize that there is a very major fault line that runs right through Mount of Olives. The list goes on and on. This concludes our 4th video titled Other Gods. Stay tuned for our next video, Prophecy Part 1, where we take a look at catastrophic days ahead. As always, you can view these and other related videos on our website at www.watchmanreview.com. Thank you for watching and many blessings.